9 out of 13 of the original states required you to be a Bible-believing Christian to serve in government at the time of the founding. Even in actually, 13 out of 13 required a declaration of faith. 9 out of 13 required you to be a Protestant, except Maryland, which was Catholic, which still required a declaration of faith. And
so we got this clip here of Charlie Kirk talking about how the U.S. is a Christian nation, and we got SR here to talk about it. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm always glad to be hanging out with you and pushing back against obvious nonsense and stupidity. Imagine somebody saying something along the lines of like, well, 9 out of the 13 colonies at the founding of the U.S. Allowed for slavery. Instantly, this argument should, in everybody's mind, be obviously stupid.
Yeah,
irrelevant.
And we're going to get into it, but we'll play like a little bit and go over it at a time. But yeah, that's a great point, because like that kind of just blows their whole concept out of the water there.
Does that make you feel good about slavery there, old Charlie boy, old right? Chucky? Huh? You're like, well, you know what? It was really cool back then. It was like, right. Oh my God, man. Yeah.
And weird. As well as being before we were a United States.
Oh my God.
Is that
it's almost like the Constitution changed some of those laws. It like those laws existed, and then we wrote the Constitution. I don't know. Could be wrong. I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe Charlie can help.
All right, so we'll take a look. So this is Charlie Kirk, and he's talking. He's got the Genetically?
Genetically, I think.
Yeah, very animated apologist. I always call the Power Ranger apologist, because he always says very, very animated. But they're not really talking much in this clip here. It's mostly Charlie Kirk, I guess, answering a question from the audience who's talking about whether or not the U.S. is a Christian nation. So.
I articulated yesterday by a couple of my friends that our country was not founded on Christian principles. Our country was founded on common law, because the Declaration only refers to God 4 times, and the Constitution doesn't refer to God at all. And it only articulates the structure of government.
Remember that we were a collection of states and colonies, and you need to read the state constitutions before anything else.
I don't exactly know why he would bring that up, because in part, it's not the flex that he thinks it is, right? Because like, if you do that, then you see the Virginia state constitution that has the clear statement about like separation of church and state. And then you understand the clear through line to why the nation wasn't founded on Christian principles, and it was a secular. I don't know why you would say that. It's almost like he doesn't know what he's talking about, And I know that's wrong. I don't want to levy that against him. I'm sure he's very intelligent.
Right. And they love to bring up the Mayflower Compact. That was because I think they have, you know what it is? It's like they have this idea of like, because they're religious, so like the original, whatever it is, the original is what you want, right? Like the original is always better than what happened later, right?
Right.
That's the religious thinking. Like they don't want like some newer version of the
religion. It's been corrupted by all the demons. I mean, come on,
exactly. So they're trying to do the same thing, but before the Constitution. They're just going by state constitutions, which are not the federal Constitution.
Right.
And those were all updated once we had a federal Constitution.
Yeah. There was a period of time where there was technically like more or less different countries, right here in the US. And there was a period of time where we started saying things like, hey, maybe it'd be cool if we kind of worked together. And then a bunch of people said, okay, but then we kind of need some like, rules and boundaries that governs all of us collectively. And funny enough, we did that, Charlie. I don't understand why you would like imagine if somebody was talking about like the US, Mexico, Canada, free trade agreement, right? And they were like, yeah, but back in the 1800s, we used to trade goods with Canada, and they didn't require all these regulations or paperwork and checks and stuff. And it's like, Yeah. But then we wrote an agreement. I don't understand why you're bringing this up, man. This is stupid. Like, you used to pay this guy like $40 an hour. And it's like, right. But you're a different person and we changed the contract. I don't understand.
It was updated. They want so badly for it to be a Christian nation that they'll
fit it however.
Yeah, and they did back then too. That's true. Like there was a lot of Christians, of course, like wanted their religion to be the one that mattered more than everybody else's. That seems to be like a theme that sort of runs through Christianity. It's
and you know what? Again, I might be getting the timeline wrong, but something about the separation of church and state might have had something to do with those early Christian groups, like asserting their will and persecuting people. I don't remember. It's so weird. It's almost like it's really, really well documented in history textbooks, Charlie.
There were reasons why those we didn't keep it that way.
Just a bunch of crazy demonic secularists over here.
That's it.
Hence, actually, 13 out of 13 required a declaration of faith. 9 out of 13 required you to be a Protestant, except Maryland, which was Catholic, which still required a declaration.
Okay, sounds like we might be figuring out why the federal government had to like do this thing where they separated this stuff, because you got all these states saying you got to have a declaration of faith in a particular faith, Protestant, and then you got one that's like, oh, well, there's this declaration of faith for a different version of the religion, and yeah, that's why we kind of like with the federal government, you had to like get rid of all of that fighting. It's just a big waste of time and money to have everybody going, no, you got to require my religion be the one that you get dedicated to in order to. And so nobody could settle this. And so we had to put it as a federal separation of church and state so that we can kind of just go around all that stuff. You're free to have your religion and everything like that. Not free to, you can't require your religion in order to serve in government. Because nobody can agree on what that religion is or should be.
It's almost like when you do stuff like that, you require statements of faith or, people to be believing certain, books or whatever, or not reading certain books, to participate in government or let's say to, I don't know, vote or not be imprisoned. It's almost like there's not an equal application of the law. It's weird. Again, I don't know, you guys. Maybe I'm crazy here. Maybe I'm the weird one. But yeah, something about this smacks of bigotry, persecution. I don't know. I'm circling it. But yeah, it's weird. I don't know why anybody would ever wake up and have the thought of like, yes, today I'm going to fight for the side of persecuting people for the things they do or don't believe from the government. Yes, from the government. It's strange, man. Again, imagine if this argument were with slavery. Imagine if Charlie was saying all this stuff about slavery. Hopefully that becomes fairly obvious that this is a bad argument, people.
Well, and the real irony here is that they're trying to make basically the argument that, hey, this nation should be a Christian nation because of how they used to do it before we, back like when they were holding slaves. And then the same guy will sit there and be like, oh, no, but the slavery thing wasn't a big deal. And we didn't actually do this, that, and the other thing. It wasn't like, also trying to like forget that part of history while also trying to remember another part. It's just crazy how this works.
I would never level accusations against anybody. I would never defame anybody's character, of course. And I don't know. I have heard that there is some chatter out there, and I think it's interesting discussion that possibly Charlie Kirk wouldn't be upset if slavery were reinstituted today. And I don't know. I don't know. I'm just asking the question, because sometimes I think there are people that have said he doesn't seem like he's that bummed out about the possibility. So
no, you're right. Yeah, it's from him. I think the most where I've seen them say that it wasn't that big of a deal. Yeah. Everybody's been enslaved before, not everybody, but every group of people. So
What's a little owning another human being amongst friends or enemies?
You know, that's the way they did it originally. So I mean, that's it's got to be better.
Right.
Fucking Jesus.
In almost every single one of the original state constitutions, Pennsylvania included, they had, I profess Lord and Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior in the original state constitutions. So you remember, we're a collection of states before that. Secondly, 55 out of 56 of the original signers of the Declaration were Bible-believing, church-attending Christians. You asked about common law. So common law is inherited from Blackstone, who was Christian. A common law is an outgrowth of the scriptures. So let's go to 3 principles of common law: presumption of innocence, due process, and jury of your peers. All 3 are biblical principles.
Yeah, that's
biblical
nonsense. Okay, look.
Jury. I don't remember that Bible verse.
Here's what we're gonna do, folks. It's really, really simple, okay? Because we created this fascinating little thing called the internet. And there's a fun little thing that you can do where you can go look up the Bible. You just go look it up. You don't even need the physical anymore. I mean, I got this one and it's great. It's fun to flip through. Sometimes I lick it when I'm bored, but it's like you can just go online now, okay? And one of the reasons that this is so cool is because when you go to the Bible online, you can just do a little Control F, a little search real quick, and you can just go type any of those fucking words that you just been. Hey, y'all just let me know. Y'all let me know. Hit me up with the Bible verses, y'all. I mean, seriously, tell me the Bible verse where Jesus turns around or Yahweh turns around and is like, Moses, my child, make sure before stoning that adulterous woman that you bring her amongst a jury of her peers. I'd prefer 12, but 7 will do. But we'd please vet them properly.
We'll just stay right at 9.
Where is this? What kind of delusional state are you in where you're just like, yeah, man, it's all in the Bible. I found it. It's in there. I see it.
Right. Well, and I swear, you know what it is? It's like they love to do this thing where they say stuff is in the Bible, but it's like in the Bible, if you think about it, because look, there's this over here, and if you redefine this word to be that, then it'll be like this. And it's like, and that's where you get like the Trinity is in there. You get like the rapture is in there. All this stuff that's not in there, but they will like infer it based off of these weird, loose interpretations of a bunch of shit. And so
because if you believe all this other stuff, then it's like, well, yeah, this probably comes through, and it's like, okay, yeah, I mean, I guess so. It's just real odd, real strange way of them doing that and getting to that. It's like, no, hey, actually, no, seriously, God really believes in the due process of law.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, yeah, that's weird. I don't remember the judge scene with the Amalekites. I think they just slaughtered them, but
blessed are the juries.
Yeah,
blessed are the juries, for they will decide whether or not people have freedom or not. That's right.
Thou shalt be paid a reasonable sum for your time and day as you sit in jury duty. If you are called back for another day, thou shalt return at 8 a.m. promptly. Like, where is this?
Recesses, all that stuff sitting there.
Nonsense.
Jesus actually walked around with a little tiny hammer that he had. It was just adorable, really.
Yeah, they didn't get that in the paintings as much.
That's so insane that they could do that. And the funny thing is, I bet you, how they, with that same sentiment, I bet you they would be, because I feel like he's one of the type that would be like, taxes are actually against the law or theft or some shit.
Yeah, but they're in the Bible.
Exactly. Taxes are in the Bible.
Yeah. Yeah. That's actually in the abortion's in the Bible. And yet he's like, nah, I don't know, man. No, I don't think so. Jurisprudence. There's a book called Judges. Come on, there it is. We got it. We figured it out.
Oh, dude,
that's okay. Charlie Kirk looked at a list of books in the Bible, saw one that said Judges, and just went, "Yeah, he's probably talking about like how judges should work." Probably.
It's right there. Why do you think we have judges? The book of Judges. Boom, done. No, that's it. I don't
Wear
even
the
read the book.
verse 1, wear the long robes. Verse 2, get a hammer. Verse 3,
Jesus wore robes.
had to be.
Judge robes. I mean, this is
It's called
insane. All the
Judges.
similarities.
What else would it be about?
Thank you all so much for hanging out. If you want to support the channel, you can do that using these links here, and I'm going to put SR's links down in the description. But the main thing is to stay logical, loving, skeptical, and compassionate. And we'll see you next time.